Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to start our session today with Mega Goal 1.1, Reading. We'll be exploring Unit 5, titled, Did You Hurt Yourself? This is the opening slide, so I want to give you a quick overview of what's coming up. We'll be focusing on understanding injuries and how to handle them, all while improving our reading skills. Let's get started and make this an engaging and informative session. Today, we are going to focus on the lesson objectives for this session. First, we want to ensure that you understand the meanings of the new words correctly. This will help you expand your vocabulary and improve your comprehension. Next, we will work on identifying specific information when reading texts. This skill is essential for understanding details and answering questions accurately. We will also practice reading stories or events using your own words correctly. This helps you develop your ability to paraphrase and retell information clearly. Additionally, we aim to recognize both happy and unhappy endings in stories, which enhances your understanding of different story conclusions. Finally, we will learn how to determine the main ideas and describe what you've read. All these objectives are designed to help you become a more confident and skilled reader, connecting each point to the overall goal of improving your reading and comprehension abilities. Have you ever seen a strange accident? Sometimes, these unusual incidents catch our attention because they seem so unexpected or puzzling. Today, I want to warm you up to the idea that understanding these odd events can actually teach us a lot about safety and prevention. As we go through this presentation, keep in mind that even the strangest accidents often have a common thread or a lesson behind them. By exploring these cases, we can better recognize risks and improve our awareness. So, let's dive in and see what we can learn from these curious occurrences. Let's take a closer look at this slide. The pictures here show some unusual accidents and deaths. Now, the first question is, what do these pictures have in common? Well, they all depict scenarios that are quite out of the ordinary, often surprising or even bizarre in how they happened. Next, we ask ourselves, how many stories are there under each subhead? We see that one subhead has 2 stories, and the other has just one. This helps us understand the different kinds of accidents or incidents that are being highlighted. How many subheads are there? There are 2, which allows us to compare and contrast the different types of accidents shown in the images. And finally, what is the title of the text? The main theme here is exploring unusual accidents and deaths, emphasizing how unexpected or rare these events can be. Overall, this slide is about illustrating that accidents can sometimes happen in the most unexpected ways, which ties into our broader conversation about safety and risk awareness. It's important to recognize that these uncommon incidents remind us to stay vigilant and prepared for the unpredictable. Can you predict what the reading is about? Let's think about this for a moment. When we look at a new piece of writing, our brains naturally try to make sense of it before we even read the first word. We might look at the title, images, or the structure to guess the main topic. This process helps us engage more deeply and sets the stage for understanding. In this slide, we're focusing on the importance of predicting or hypothesizing what a text might be about before diving in. It's a key reading strategy because it activates prior knowledge and makes the reading more interactive. By connecting these ideas to our overall theme, improving comprehension, we see that prediction helps us become more active readers. So, as we go through the presentation, keep in mind how predicting can make reading more effective and enjoyable. Let's take a closer look at this intriguing story involving a tortoise, a bald eagle, and the Greek playwright Aeschylus. The image of the tortoise might seem simple, but it plays a key role here. The eagle, which is often seen as a symbol of power and freedom, is also central to this story. Now, Aeschylus, one of the great Greek tragedians, is linked to this event. The story goes that Aeschylus was killed when an eagle dropped a tortoise on his head. This might sound strange, but the eagle was actually dropping the tortoise to crack its shell, thinking it was hitting a stone. This leads us to the question on the slide. Was the ending happy or unhappy? Well, clearly, it was an unhappy ending for Aeschylus, as he lost his life in this bizarre accident. you can see that the sentence, "He was killed when an eagle dropped a tortoise on his head," is underlined, emphasizing this tragic outcome. This story highlights the unpredictability of life and reminds us that sometimes, even the most powerful or wise can be caught off guard. It also connects to our overall theme of how fate and chance can dramatically alter our lives, often in unexpected ways. On this slide, we have quite an intriguing story involving an ostrich. So, picture this. An 8-foot-tall ostrich was seen weaving through heavy traffic. Now, this isn't your everyday sight, right? It raises questions about how such a large bird managed to navigate busy roads. What happened on this Saudi Arabian highway near Abha? Well, it led to a situation that many would consider an unhappy ending. And here's the key point. This story highlights how unexpected animal encounters can cause disruptions and even dangerous situations on our roads. Now, let's look at the sentences that reflect whether the ending was happy or unhappy. The phrase, "unhappy ending," clearly suggests that the outcome was not positive. The question, "Is it happy or unhappy ending?" invites us to think about how unpredictable events like this can turn into serious issues. Throughout this story, the most important concept is how human activity and wildlife sometimes collide in unexpected ways, leading to possible hazards. This ties into our overall theme of safety and awareness in our environment. So remember, stories like this remind us to stay alert and respectful of wildlife, especially in areas where human and animal worlds intersect. Let's take a look at this slide, which highlights some intriguing themes. We start with outer space, a vast and mysterious frontier that often symbolizes the unknown and sometimes danger. Next, we see meteorite, a reminder of how unpredictable and powerful objects from space can be. Now, notice the phrase, "unhappy ending." This hints at a story that doesn't conclude well. The question, "Is it happy or unhappy ending?" invites us to think more deeply. And the sentence, "He has been killed by a meteorite," is quite striking. It's underlined here, emphasizing that this is a key point. This detail clearly indicates that the ending is unhappy, as it involves a fatal event caused by a celestial object. Now, connecting this to Manfredo Satala, the question, "What happened to Manfredo Satala?" is posed. The answer, as we've just seen, is that he was killed by a meteorite. This tragic event ties back to the overall theme of unpredictability and danger from the universe. So, in summary, this slide reminds us how space, while fascinating, can also be deadly, and sometimes stories, like that of Manfredo Satala, serve as stark examples of that reality. Let's take a look at this slide. The word "beg" might suggest the start of something, and then we see "pool," which brings to mind a place where many moments unfold, sometimes joyful, sometimes tragic. We have a figure of a lifeguard here, symbolizing safety and responsibility, but also highlighting the critical role they play in preventing accidents. Now notice the phrase, "unhappy ending." This is a key point. It prompts us to think about the consequences of such incidents. The question, "Is it happy or unhappy ending?" invites us to reflect on the outcome. The sentence, "He lost his son in a drowning accident at a friend's house," is poignant and underscores the gravity of water safety. This tragic event is directly linked to the overall theme of the presentation, the importance of vigilance and prevention. Finally, the question, "What happened to Ahmed Ali's son?" ties it all together, reminding us that behind every story of tragedy, there are real families affected. As we analyze this slide, remember that the most important concept here is the devastating impact when safety measures fail, emphasizing why awareness and precaution are vital. Let's take a closer look at this sequence. It all starts with a plane soaring high above the ground. Suddenly, there's a gust of wind that impacts the aircraft. This unexpected force causes the engine to stall, which is a critical situation for any pilot. Despite this, the story has a happy ending. But here's the question, asterisk, is it a happy or unhappy ending? The slide underlines that it is a happy ending. Now, an important detail. During this turbulent event, someone fell out of their seat while the plane was still high above the ground. That highlights just how intense the situation was. As for the German soldier involved, what happened to him? Well, this scenario reminds us that even in moments of crisis, there can be positive resolutions, and it underscores the importance of resilience and quick thinking in unpredictable circumstances. So in this slide, we're talking about minor injuries that can happen during a parachute jump. Sometimes, even with all the safety measures, a jumper might hit the ground face first, which is obviously quite dangerous. The parachute itself is a crucial safety device, but it's not infallible. Now, despite these risks, there are cases where the story ends happily. For example, if a parachute deploys correctly and the jumper lands safely, that's what we call a happy ending. But the question posed here is it really always a happy ending? Notice the sentence that says, "He dropped and hit the ground face first." That underscores how accidents can happen even with parachuting. It's important to recognize these risks because they remind us of the importance of safety procedures and proper training. To connect this to our overall theme, think about Bob Hale. What happened when his main parachute failed to open? It's a reminder that, despite all precautions, failures can occur, and understanding these scenarios helps us improve safety measures. So, while we hope for happy endings, it's essential to acknowledge the risks involved and always be prepared for the unexpected. Let's take a closer look at what happened to Phil Lamatina's car. The slide shows a sequence of dramatic events. It was knocked out, then it became a fireball, and ultimately it split. What does this tell us? Well, it highlights how severe the crash was, with the car losing control and breaking apart in a spectacular fashion. The phrase fireball really emphasizes the danger and intensity of the accident. Now the question posed is it a happy or unhappy ending? The sentence, "His car became airborne, split in two, and burst into a fireball," clearly describes a catastrophic event, so the ending here is definitely unhappy. But notice that the slide also asks us to underline the sentences that express whether it's a happy or unhappy ending. The key point is that this accident was dangerous and destructive, which aligns with an unhappy ending. This ties into the overall theme of safety and risk in racing. Even when accidents happen, understanding their severity helps us emphasize the importance of safety measures. So, while the ending here is unhappy, it serves as a crucial reminder of why safety protocols are essential in motorsport. Let's take a closer look at this slide. We have a bar, which here symbolizes the idea of a threshold or a turning point in a story. Next, we see the word dynamite, often associated with explosive change or sudden events. The phrase, happy ending, suggests a positive conclusion, but then we encounter the question, is it a happy or unhappy ending? Notice that the sentence asking this question is underlined. That's to emphasize the importance of considering different perspectives or outcomes. Now, moving on to the next point, he remained conscious but was unable to see out of his left eye. This detail highlights the kind of injury Phineas Gage sustained. Despite being conscious, he experienced specific damage, namely, vision loss in one eye. So, what damage happened to Phineas Gage? Well, his injury involved a significant brain injury caused by an iron tamping rod that penetrated through his skull. This injury didn't just cause physical harm. It also led to profound changes in his personality and behavior, which challenged previous assumptions about the brain's role in personality. Connecting this to our overall theme, Phineas Gage's case is a pivotal example showing how brain injuries can dramatically alter a person's mental state and behavior. It raises important questions about the connection between brain regions and personality, and whether such injuries lead to a happy or unhappy outcome, highlighted once again by the question on the slide. So, when a piece of stone or metal from space actually makes it all the way to Earth, we call it a meteorite. These objects start their journey in space as meteoroids, but once they enter our atmosphere and survive the fiery passage, they become meteorites. It's pretty fascinating because most meteoroids burn up before reaching the ground, but the ones that do are really special. They give us valuable clues about the composition of our solar system. Understanding meteorites helps us piece together the history and evolution of planets and other celestial bodies, tying into the bigger picture of how our universe is constantly changing. Today, I want to focus on the importance of acting immediately and being ready to respond on the spot. When a situation arises, the key is to act without hesitation. This means trusting your instincts and making decisions quickly, rather than delaying or overthinking. Being able to respond immediately can make a huge difference, especially in critical moments. It's about staying prepared and confident so you can handle challenges as they come. This concept ties into our overall theme of agility and responsiveness, emphasizing that in many scenarios, the difference between success and failure is how quickly and effectively we can act on the spot. When a motor stops working, one common issue we might encounter is something called a stall. A stall happens when the motor is unable to turn or move the load it's supposed to drive, even though power is being supplied. Essentially, the motor is trying to do its job, but something is preventing it from moving forward. This could be due to mechanical jams, overloading, or even electrical problems like insufficient power or faults. Recognizing a stall is important because it helps us diagnose what's going wrong and prevents further damage to the motor or the system. In the context of our overall discussion about motor reliability and troubleshooting, understanding stalls is key to maintaining smooth operation and avoiding unexpected downtime. When we talk about traffic in this context, we're referring to the way a cyclist runs in and out of the way of obstacles like cars. It's all about being alert and adaptable. Sometimes, you need to zigzag or weave through these obstacles to stay safe and keep moving efficiently. The key here is to anticipate and react smoothly to what's around you, rather than just reacting impulsively. This kind of maneuvering allows you to maintain control and avoid sudden stops or hazards. Remember, the goal is to navigate through traffic safely while staying aware of your surroundings at all times. This concept ties into the overall theme of being a confident and attentive cyclist, capable of handling complex traffic situations with agility. When we talk about things being in the air or airborne, we're referring to how certain particles, pathogens, or even objects can travel through the atmosphere. This concept is really important because it impacts how diseases spread, especially in close or enclosed environments. Being airborne means that these particles are suspended in the air and can be inhaled by others, which makes transmission much easier compared to surfaces or direct contact. Understanding this helps us grasp the importance of ventilation, masks, and air filtration in controlling the spread of airborne illnesses. So, in the context of our overall theme, public health and safety, recognizing what it means for something to be airborne highlights the need for effective strategies to mitigate these risks and protect communities. When we talk about being awake and able to understand what's going on, we're really referring to a state of consciousness. This is the stage where we're alert, attentive, and capable of processing information from our environment. It's what allows us to respond appropriately and make sense of the world around us. When someone is conscious, they're aware of themselves and their surroundings. This awareness is essential because it's the foundation for communication, decision-making, and interactions. So, in the context of our overall discussion, understanding consciousness helps us see how vital it is for functioning effectively in daily life. It's the baseline that supports all higher cognitive processes and social interactions. Let's take a closer look at this slide, starting with the letters C. A B, F, E, and D, these might seem simple, but they actually represent key concepts that are essential to understanding the overall topic. I want to emphasize how each of these points connects to the bigger picture we're exploring today. For instance, the letter C might stand for a core principle, while in B could represent supporting ideas that build on that foundation. Moving on, the letters F, E, and D help us see the progression or relationship between different elements. As we go through this, remember that the main goal is to see how these parts come together to create a comprehensive understanding, much like the content in the student's book on page 11. Keep this in mind as we analyze each point and think about how they fit into the overall theme of our presentation. So I couldn't believe he survived that incident. It was truly remarkable. Interestingly, when they tried to open it, it didn't open at all, which was quite surprising given the circumstances. This event involved many children, and they had made sure that a lifeguard was present to ensure everyone's safety. Interestingly, the story also involves someone from a farm, highlighting how diverse these backgrounds can be. Sadly, Aeschylus was killed in this incident, which adds a historical dimension to the story. For more details, you can refer to the student's book on page 11. Overall, this slide underscores the unpredictability of life and the importance of safety measures, especially when children are involved. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide. Now, let's talk about your workbook exercise. This is found on page 269. Section I, it's designed as homework to help reinforce what we've discussed today. The goal here is to apply the concepts in a practical way, ensuring you really grasp the key points. Remember, the main ideas are about understanding how these principles connect to the bigger picture of effective work and learning. Take your time with this exercise, think critically, and don't hesitate to revisit the material if needed. This is an important step in solidifying your understanding and making sure you're ready to implement these strategies in real-world situations. Always remember that the key to success in any project or initiative is maintaining focus on the core principles we've discussed. It's easy to get sidetracked by distractions or new ideas, but staying true to these fundamentals keeps us aligned and moving forward. Keep in mind the importance of continuous learning and adaptation, as those are essential for growth and resilience. Never underestimate the power of teamwork and effective communication. These are the building blocks that turn plans into reality. And finally, always keep the overall vision in mind, because every small step should contribute to the bigger picture we're working toward. By holding these ideas close, we can navigate challenges more confidently and achieve lasting success. Thanks. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here today. I hope the presentation has given you a clear understanding of the key concepts we've discussed. Remember, the main takeaway is how these ideas can be applied to improve our work and achieve our goals. Your engagement and questions are what make these sessions valuable. So, thank you again for your attention and participation. I look forward to seeing how you put these insights into action. Have a great day.